Hi there, it's Cindy Fodor with Stamp the Love, and it's Make It Monday. This is a class week, so it is a pre-recorded version, and I hope that you'll pop on and still and talk to me, leave me comments. It's really encouraging because it's a lot of work to do these, and I love seeing your names, even though I can't see your faces. Hopefully, some of you I'll be seeing at a class this week, so I'll still get to give you a hug. Um, I just want to say before I start the projects that um, June is our BOGO month. Okay, so if you didn't hear yet, all of our sweets and sweet products are buy one, get one 50% off. Now, that means anything that's ever been in a sweet that's still available. So there are, I think I put on I have a Facebook or a blog post. There's 27 different sweets. Now, they're not all full sweets because some of them are on the last chance list. So um, they're only partial. There's some things that are sold out already. But if you're a demonstrator, there's even more because this month is a pre-order month for next month's online exclusives, and there's more sweets and sweet products available that we can order on there. Now, just so that you can get the most out of the sale and so that you don't lose money, don't go in and place one order and put a sweet or two sweets, a bundle or two, some ribbon, gems, whatever, from sweet products, because whatever you purchase that's the lowest price is what you are going to get the half price on. So you're going to be really disappointed if you purchase two sweets thinking I'm going to get one sweet for full price, one for half. That's not how it works in the same order. And I think this is across the board. Like, there's no way that they could set it up and go like, oh, the computer says, oh, that's two sweets, so one of those sweets will be half price. Oh, there's two bundles. It just says there's the lowest price item. It's part of the sweets that gets the half price. So I placed three orders, and I've also helped customers to optimize their orders by maybe splitting them into two or breaking down and not getting a suite but getting components of the suite, like getting the bundles in one order and then getting like the paper, ribbon, um, whatever else, like things that are from like $8 to $12, so that everything that you're getting is more in the same price range, so that the half price items are always fairly close to the price of your full price item, the original price of your full price item. I'm not saying that right, but anyways, if you get a bundle and you get another bundle at half price, you're getting the most bang for your buck. You're getting the most discount that you can. And obviously the same with a suite if you choose to get two suites. But anyways, I know that's a lot, and it's a lot more work. Some thinking, and I actually, you know, I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning and did it. So I think anybody can do it if I could do it in a foggy 2 o'clock in the morning. But anyways, please contact me if you're struggling, if there's things that you want and you want to make sure that you're getting the best deal. I will be happy to sit down and crunch numbers for you and make sure that you're getting the best deal. I probably should add that when your order gets, if you place an online order and it's $50, you will get these projects in the mail later, like probably a week and a half or so from now. Of course, in class, when you come to class, it's a $45 order that will get you the free class. And those classes are tonight while you're seeing this video. Tuesday morning is at my house. It's usually the second Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the month. And then Wednesday is in Maryland and Mount Airy. So for a $45 minimum order, you can attend my classes for free. Bump it up to 50 and I will send them to you in the mail. Just because it costs me a little bit more to get them out to you that way. Also, when you're looking at numbers, of course, we look at numbers all day long. If you bump your order up to 60, every month I give away a free tutorial. And from our Creative Stamping Collective, we have 12 ladies making 12 amazing projects every single month, and you get the PDF and the videos for every single project. So your repertoire of ideas is going to be through the roof. So don't forget that. This month we're doing Impressions of Bloom, and so when your order's over $60, you will get that tutorial. So just keep an eye on those totals, especially as you're working on that sale, and you're getting some half price items. You'll want to make sure that your half price hasn't taken you under the 60 so that you get the free tutorial. All right, that's everything. Let's stamp. Okay, for our Father's Day card, I pulled out a new bundle. I had just gotten it. It's been around for a little bit, but it's the Everyday Arches. And I want to show you how to take this stamp and create a different look to it. If you notice, I have the Know You Are Loved. I have this side lower because I wanted to be able to put some trees over here. I'm going to show you how to do that. Which is the beauty of photopolymer. So one thing that's definitely a positive with that. I'm also using a couple other sets. I'm using the Scenic Adventure bundle for the trees. I think that's the only thing I'm using in there. And then the trusty tools I'm using for the Happy Father's Day. So just so you know where everything came from. I'm also using our plaid paper. And I'm going to use a different one for this one because it has a lot of nice prints in it. And because I'm doing this for a class, I need more than just one paper. So that works nice. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. It's just a little quieter, a little lighter. The nice thing about it, it has two sides. So if people in class decide they want the other side, they can do that. I think my adhesive's getting empty here. It's starting to be annoying. All right, let's go ahead and get this stamped. So I have, like, this is like the medium size frame, and I have it set up on my Stamparatus. Now you could do it on the block as well. So what I did was I cut out the frame, and then I laid the stamp in there. And actually, if you don't want to do it on the Stamparatus, it's really easy to do on your block. You just stick it on your, I don't have a big block. There's a fairly decent block, but you would stick it on your block and then take your die cut piece. Let me just grab that out here. I think I know which one it is. Yeah. So then you would just take your die cut piece and put it here and shape it to that. Okay. So I can see it almost could come in here just a hair more. Because it's been on here for a little bit since I designed this card. Okay, so now we can just put this piece in and ink that baby up and stamp it. We're going to use Early Espresso for that. I'm not happy with how this is not staying in this little groove. I want you to stay in there. There we go. Look how cool that is. Right in line. I don't like these arched things if they're crooked, if they're not fitting exactly. So that's why I'm glad this one was photopolymer. And I was determined when I pulled this out that it was definitely going to be fitting and following the contour, or I wasn't going to be using it. All right, let's pull that out of here. I'll clean that later. Okay, the next thing we want to do is color our ribbon, and I have some scrap paper here. I'm using this black and vanilla plaid, and I need you to know that this is on the last chance list, and I am so sad because it is like the last really cool thing that we have. I like colored ribbons, but this one just fits everything, and it's, you know, I can use it for masculine things or whatever. So maybe there'll be something better coming out. Who knows? But if you need it, make sure you get it before it's gone. I'm going to be using up the last of mine for this class, I'm sure. Just a little color like that, and this is the Night of Navy Light. Excuse me. Okay, let's go ahead and do some stamping. I'll let that dry. I have my other stuff here. Let's stamp the Father's Day. So it's going to go this direction. And I used Night of Navy for that one. We're going to use 3 different colors of ink. Early Espresso, Night of Navy, and Pecan Pie. And let's see if I can get this on here straight. There we go. And then let's get our little hot air balloon stamped. And I just tried to stamp them randomly. I'm going to stamp a couple of navy ones. And clean it. Whoops. And then we'll do I'm not sure you're going to see it over here, but I'll go ahead and stick one there. And it looks like I did stamp off some blue as well, and I didn't do that. So let's just put this Pecan Pie here. All right, I think that might be a decent amount. All right, so I did pop this up with some dimensionals, and actually, I don't have any strips in here. The strips would probably be even easier. I will take those to class if I can remember to put those in the thing. But we'll go ahead and use dimensionals for now. The strips you can just bend right around. All right. I'm just going to center that. Oh, shoot. I needed to tuck this around my designer paper. Don't you hate when you do that? So let's see. Maybe it's good my adhesive wasn't working very good. I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and put some more right here, and here, and maybe here, and then I can just tuck it in there. All right, so what I want to do is I want to do a faux knot with this. So I'm just going to grab a pen or a water painter or something and just tie a knot. And then we'll just give this a little snip and make it lay how I want it. I did notice, like, after I tied these, that I had to go back and just touch up because the opposite side was still very white on this ribbon. I don't know if you can see that. So I just had to touch up those spots. All right, let's see. This is going to go here. Let's see if I can get that tucked in there. I'm sorry, I got a tickle in my throat for some reason. And we'll stretch out across and stick it in there. Voila. Except I hid my one balloon, so I might need to go back and add another balloon. Let's put, I have dimensionals on here, so this could be a little tricky. And then maybe I'll put another brown one in here. That might look a little bunched up, but okay. Now we are ready to finish up. And I'm just going to go ahead and add some more dimensionals. I don't typically add dimensionals on top of dimensionals, but I do want this greeting to stand up. I want to keep this to the edge. Whoops, I just pulled it right off. Okay, now the trees are going to pop right in here. There's a couple things in here yet that need to come out. All right, a little bit of glue. Now there's a lot of little cracks in these trees, and when you have those, it's, I don't know, it does squish out a little bit, but I guess that's just how it is. Now, I see that I put this on here and I trimmed off the edge of the trees. That one's got a little broken end on it. So I'll put that there. Because I do like the look of that, just ending right there at the frame. Got a little too much glue on this. All right. Gonna put a little bit more down here so this trunk holds. Got to hold that down for a second, and then we'll go ahead and just put a little bit of glue right here. So basically on this one, I'm going to try just popping it up here at the edge of my card and sticking it down here since this already has dimensionals on it. Okay. All right. And I have this little tree that you can add if you want, just to give a little bit more dimension. I popped him on there. Maybe bring him up over the tag a little bit. He's going to need some more glue, I know. All right, and last but not least, we have these textured dots. They look similar to our pressed flower motifs, but they're not flowers. They're a little lighter weight. I think I can say I probably like them a little better than the pressed flower motifs. They almost look like golf balls, though. They have like little divots all over them, like a golf ball does. So that could make it look very masculine, right? And we'll just pop two of those on there. All right, so we've got a darker blue and a lighter blue. And my screen just went away. Hopefully we're still recording. Okay, now I can see it too. So which is your favorite? You like the darker blue or the lighter one? All right, let's go to the next one. I forgot to show you the other cards that I did with the frames, the arches. So here's two that I did, and this one I did another Father's Day card with the plaid background. This one is from that adventurous, the trees and mountains and stuff. This was a swap that I got, and I thought that was so pretty. So I wanted to show you that too. And the next card that I'm going to do for you is this fun fold. I got this from my friend Lisa Curcio. I changed it up a little bit. It looks a little different than how she did it, but I think that it works almost exactly the same. It does take a few scores and cuts. So you'll need to grab your trimmer. I'm going to try to walk you through this. It's not hard, but there's just a couple things you need to know. So this is 11 inches by 5.5. So the height of a card and then the whole 11-inch piece. So we're going to put this at, I have to think what I'm doing here. We're going to start at 3.5 inches. I did all of them so far. I saved this one to do in video. Of course, I won't be able to do it. I'm going to turn this just so that I can see the measurements over here, because that's going to be important, as well as across here. So 3.5 here. I'm going to score that completely. And then I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to cut it just down to the 2-inch mark. Then I'm going to scoot over to 7.5 inches. Be sure that I'm up there far enough. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to score it Now I'm going to cut it down to the 3-inch line. So I'm just looking on here for my 3-inch. Now I'm going to turn this counterclockwise. I'm going to put it at the 3 because this is our 3-inch cut right here. So I'm putting this at 3. And we're going to cut it from the score line up to the end, and that should pull right out. Then I'm going to scoop down to the bottom here so I don't have to move it around. Now I'm going to put it at the 2-inch mark because down here, as you can see, hopefully, is our 2-inch cut. All right. So now we're going to come down here to the cut line or the score line. They're both the same. And we're going to cut that to the end. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So not hard, right? Just put this back. All right. Now this is what I want on the right side, and I want this one on the left side. We're going to decorate that from some paper from, I forget what it's called. Impressions, something of Bloom, or Floral Impressions, because the stamp set, I didn't show you that, is Impressions of Bloom. So I'm using that. My dies are a mess. And then I'm using the saying from With You in Mind. But the paper is called Floral Impressions. And there's just so many beautiful sides. You're going to really have trouble deciding which you want. But I wanted 2 florals and 2 prints, or 2, what do you want to say, geometric prints or whatever. And then, of course, I wanted something that was sort of quiet. Now, the other side of this is gorgeous, so you may choose to use that. I might wait till the last minute to do that to see if we want to do that part. So this one is going to go on this right side. Let's go ahead and put that on. I think this is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. That's a square one. And then this is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 for this side. This is the wrong one. And that's pretty too. It's really difficult to cover these up or to turn them over and not be able to see them. But as you can see, I have a lot of flowers here, so I didn't want a lot of flowers competing here. And I'm not sure what I want there yet. So let's do the inside yet. For the inside, I did the same thing. I did a floral and a print. So let's put this over here. So you just need 2 of each size. Oops, that's sticking out over. All right, now let's do this part next before I decide if I want to do that. This should be scored. This is, let me look here. This is 3 inches by 8 1/2, I think. I'm hoping. Oh, it's not. Oh, well, I'm going to go with it. It's going to be 8 1/2 for the card, but for my sample, it's going to be shorter because that's what I have. And this piece, I'm going to just line it up, put a little bit extra up here, and then I'm going to cut. I think this is how Lisa did hers, or so I saw somebody do this, and I really liked it. And we're just going to cut this angle on the card. You do have to sort of hold it tight, and it looks like it scooted on me there a little bit. Got to get to that point. There we go. Now when I slide this back up into place, I will have a perfect amount around each one, hopefully. That's the goal anyways. Okay. Let's go ahead and stamp that. I'm not sure if I have enough room on here to stamp. You can see it's a little bit shorter. It's not a whole lot, so it should be fine. I'm going to stamp the best wishes, and there's lots of choices from there. There's a thank you. The happy birthday's too big. The other two are too big. So best wishes and thank you would be the ones that are usable for this card because it's so narrow. I probably should have. Let me just throw this on here since I inked that, or put glue on it. I'm going to go ahead and put my flower. So this flower is from the Impressions of Bloom. I'm mainly focusing on the die cut flowers for this card, but I wanted to put something here and I didn't want to do another die cut. So I chose to just pull in this one and the center for the flower. I can line that up here. All right, now we can stick that on here. All right, now that's ready to glue down. But we still have a decision to make before we glue this down because I got to get this designer paper on here. Oops. I wish this was live so you could tell me which one I should do. I'm going to tuck this in here just a little bit so we can see it. I don't know, that doesn't look terrible because it covers up a lot of the flowers, but you still see some. And then of course we're going to have these on here. It's a very floral card. I think I might do it this way just because it'll be different and then people can choose which way they want to do it. If you're not a floral person, the card might be difficult all around for you. But there we go. All right, let's pop the rest of these babies on here. And I don't think, I did use a dimensional for one. This one I just tucked here in the corner. And then we'll pop a dimensional on this one. And then I'm going to pull in my green glue and just put a little bit on the leaves. That was a little more than a little, but we'll put one there. One down here. And then these little flowers, there's 2 dies in there that cut 3 flowers out. So we're going to use all 3 on our card. For the one, I'm going to use it for the center of that one. And then the other 2 will just be like little, whoops, little embellishments. I wish I had my take your pick tool here. And then I didn't add any other embellishments to this because, whoops, because I had these little flowers on here and I felt like they were embellishment enough. But you could, I think, you know, you could still make something a little shimmery on here that would look nice. So there's our card and there's where you write. I hope that you like that. Oh, I didn't want to show you before I go to the next one. This is one of the cards that I designed for Creative Stamping Collective, just to show you quick how that worked together. I wanted to show all of this paper, so I was able to show both sides and in this card. That was my goal, and so it's just a fun little opening, but I was able to show both sides. Okay. Okay, the next card we're going to do is this gorgeous Kintsugi Inspiring Imperfections card using this bundle. I did a card last week, I think, with this set. I'm also going to be using elements of text for some of the backgrounds and a couple of other cards, just because I'm going to forget this at the end. Let's see, this is one of them. This is the one I did on the video, and then I had this one finished. This is from the designer paper cut out from that. So I wanted to highlight the designer paper there with this set. So we are going to, the background is Gorgeous Grape. And we're going to use a combination of Balmy Blue and Highland Heather, a little bit of Smoky Slate, and some Fresh Freesia. Okay? And then some markers, the blends. All right, let's go ahead and start with the background because I want to emboss on the background, but I want everything to be dry. So I'm using this big round text first from Elements of Text. And we're just going to stamp that right in the center-ish, like so. And then I'm going to take the grunge stamp in some Fresh Freesia and just add some there. And then we're going to let that sit to dry. Okay? Let me just close a couple ink pads that we're finished with. That way I don't have to worry about going in the wrong ink pad. I'm sure you've never done that. Okay, next we're going to emboss. We're going to emboss this, I guess, because we have to do that. Actually, let's do these first, and then we can emboss both of those at the same time. I'd rather get the heat tool set up and ready. So I did set up this flower on the Stamparatus. I have 2 of them done, but I just wanted to show you here how quick it was to do a whole bunch because I was able to cut them double. It's basic white. So I was able to cut 2 pieces at a time, and since this card takes 3 of them, that was a little bit of extra cutting, right? So we're going to color those with our blends, and I have, let's see, I have Highland Heather Light and Dark, and then I have Old Olive, I believe, yeah. So let's go ahead and put some low lights in here. Just going to slap some on here. And then we'll fill it in with the light. And, you know, these flowers, if you see artists working, they don't always have everything filled in. So don't feel like you have to. Just throw in some color. Look at that. It's not all colored in, but it's pretty. And we'll do the same thing with this one. We'll add some dark down here in the belly of the flower, maybe inside there a little bit. Let's go ahead and do this one. You don't want to do too much ahead just because the color's going to, ooh, I got that a little heavy. The color's going to blend better when it's wet while the alcohol's still there and allowing the blending part. So I'll come back to this one. So I'm making brush strokes as opposed to like circular motion, just because I don't want to color everything in and it's going to look better with a brush stroke. Hope that makes sense. Just because of the shape of this flower mostly. The fact that it's lots of little tiny petals coming together. I know there's a little petal down here that I think I missed on some of those. Nope, I got it. Okay. And then we'll add some Old Olive, and I might go ahead and do some shading on that as well. We'll just go down the center with some of the dark. Looks like my brush is pretty shot on that one anyways. And then just smudge a little Old Olive on there of the light. Okay, those are done. All right, now we have those done. This should be dry so we can emboss that and this. So let's go ahead and let's make sure we have everything. This is the stamp we're going to use on here. We have our embossing buddy, we have our Versamark pad, we got our powder, and a brush in case we need it, and our little toolkit there. Now I'm going to lose those 3 flowers. Okay, let's get this one first. So I have it set up on here so that, again, I could cut 2 of those at a time, and it's sticking to my plastic here. So let me just get this back in place. Feels like there's a magnet under here. And I put it as far away from the edges as I could, especially the, what's this called? Yeah, this thing. Because it, the hinge, because it keeps it up too high. It keeps it raised. So I brought it clear out here because I have space. And now I got my embossing buddy on there. I'm going to put my Versamark ink on there. We'll get that stamped. One thing I did not bring in here, and that was my tweezers. And so I guess I'll just burn my fingers. Not fun. Oh, I do have some tweezers there. I'm just going to go ahead and put the powder on there and leave it in there for a second. Let's go to this one. We're going to run our embossing buddy over that. And then our Versamark ink. And I just want this sort of running off the edge here. All right. Okay, let me get this one out of the buried in the gold powder. There we go. Set that aside so we don't get that heated, because that would not be good. And I do have some tweezers here I can use. These might actually work really good, because you can only barely grab the edge of this thing. If I can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, let's get the heat going. Start at one side here. All right, whoops, I'm down here, blowing everything around here. Let's get a hold of this one. There we go. Now, hopefully, with those other cards that I showed you, you can see how this gold actually is part of the kintsugi, and I explained it on the other video about what it means, and it's a beautiful meaning, so you might want to go back and watch that one. But this gold is very much a part of that, but I really like the pattern on this, so I decided not to. Let me grab this card here, the one I did, where I stamped this in color, but then I embossed that little crack on the card. So instead we put it in the background on this card. Okay, so we're going to add some sponging just to color this. I'm going to come in here with Balmy Blue. And we're just going to get a little mishmash of color on here. Let's get some purple in there, Highland Heather. I just think these two colors look so pretty together. In fact, it almost looks like Lost Lagoon, and I was like, Come back here with a little more blue. I want the color to be really deep, no white spots. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Let's put a little bit more purple in here. You really have to go over where they overlap. You have to make sure you get those spots so that you're not leaving white. All right, there's where we're going to stop. I don't know if I have a tissue in here. I guess there we go. I have a pack of tissues. And then you just want to wipe this off so that you wipe off the color from the gold. Otherwise, you might keep smudging color as you put your card together. Okay? All right. One more thing I want to do before we put this together is I want to create a little slice. Now, you could use your blade from your Take Your Pick Tool Extra Accessories, or you can just take your scissors and on a safe surface like this glass or a self-healing mat, and just add a little slice there. You want to make sure your scissors are sharp, and those are a little bit iffy, but I think it's going to be enough to just tuck one of these flowers in here so it looks like the flowers are coming from my vase. Now I am going to pop this up on dimensionals, so maybe I'm going to get that for sure where I want it, because I'm going to stick one here, there on top of that, and maybe two more down here. All right, let's go ahead and tuck these on here. All right, there we go. Hoping it's straight. That looks pretty good. I'm going to get this on my card because the embossing has made this a little bit wonky. So I definitely want to get that glued down good. And then we can see a little bit better how things are looking. Because it's wonky, I'm going to add some extra adhesive there. Make sure I'm not over the edge. For some reason, I want to go over that edge. So we have our gorgeous grape card base. Just going to sort of pull this as I lay it so it's nice and flat. There we go. Now that looks so much better. And this we're just going to tuck these behind here. And then this one's going to fall out of the vase. My helper, Linda, made this card for us. And so I love how it turned out. Okay, I have one of our shapes dies, and I'm going to stamp You're on My Mind. And I don't know what that's from. Let me look here real quick. It's not from the set. There's a You Inspire Me in the set, which also looks really nice with this, as you saw with some of my cards. But you don't always want to send that to somebody like that might be struggling or something. But You're on My Mind is definitely a more thoughtful. I'm just going to pick up this little leaf here and tuck that under. And maybe, I know I put adhesive on there, but I'm thinking I might tuck just a little bit of dimensional under the end so that it stands up. And then we have a bow to put on here, and I'm using the gold striped ribbon, and I have my bow tied already, so I just need to give it a little snip snip and grab a glue dot. And then we need some bling, some other bling. This isn't enough. Like that's tied around the vase. Isn't that so pretty? I love this card. Okay. And then some of these what are they called? Flower accents. I used these, I think, in the last one, and they're just so yummy. Like, can you get more shiny gold than this? It's just incredible. Let's go ahead and put a big one and a little one on here. All right. So that is it for that card. to use my dark background because I know white does not do well with my camera. So I will tell you the designer paper comes from the Sips and Cheers paper, because it had a nice, it had the color I wanted, and it was a nice pattern. So I'm using the back of one of those designs. All right, so for our base, it's 8.5 by 5.5, but I'm gonna score it at 4.25. I don't usually score it, but since we're cutting, I'm just gonna go ahead and score. And then I just need to cut not quite an inch off of the front. So I'm gonna do like 7/8 of an inch. Whoops, off the front. Cut, not score, right? Okay, so that's going to give us space to put this designer paper and just add a little bit of color to the front. I love doing it this way because it doesn't take away from the rest of the card, but it adds a little bit of color and a pop there. I love the colors in this card. So besides this little sort of Lost Lagoon-y color, we've got Smoky Slate and Bubble Bath. And then I used Lost Lagoon for the stamping. And then I pulled out our gorgeous 24-26 in color pearls. Are they just yummy? So we have both sets of in colors now in the flat pearls. And so I'm thrilled. I love how shiny they are, and they just worked perfect. Even though this is Bubble Bath, the Pretty in Pink pearls went really good with that. So that was cool. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to stamp our flowers. This is going to hopefully be a really quick card. I did do all of the embossing ahead. Now that stamp, I need to go wash that because it keeps, I guess I need to lick it like Shelly used to do. It keeps popping off my thing. Just going to stamp that. Try to stamp it in the center. I'm not doing too well. There we go. And then let's go ahead. Oh, I forgot to get a I forgot to get a piece for the tag. I have tons of scraps. I'm just going to cut a piece really quick. We had this extra little piece right here. So I'm just going to cut that in half, and then it should be about the size that we want. There we go. And I'm using the, where's my stamp set there? I'm using just the Hello from Blooming Phrases. I love these scripty phrases with the tails, but my card just wouldn't take that much. So I'm just using the Hello from the Hello There because I didn't need it to be any longer. There we go. All right, so we got all the stamping done. Let me go ahead and close this. All right, so two different embossing folders. One is the mini corrugated. The other one is the Garden in Glass, and I'm using both of them. So one I used on vellum, and the other one I used on the vase. Now, I will tell you, I was going to use, since we don't sell vellum anymore, I was going to use wax paper because I heard that looks really cool. I didn't have any. Go figure. So I am using vellum just because I had a little bit left. And I'm only gluing this right where I'm going to put the mini corrugated folder or strip of white paper because I don't want the ink or the glue to show through. And I want to center this a little bit. That's going to be, well, I'm having a terrible time here getting this thing straight. All right, that's going to have to be good enough. Now, I am going to use green glue for this because this corrugation is going to be tricky to put Seal Plus on. And then you can trim this off if you need to, which it looks like I do. Just a little bit. It's better to have it too long than too short, right? Okay, now this is going to go on the front of our card and it's going to overlap, so we don't want to glue it clear out here to the edge. So I'm just going to come in here and put some adhesive, and then I just want to center it as much as I can. Like so. All right. Excuse me, choking on my saliva. Next thing I want to do is create my vase. I don't want to use this vase because I want it to look a little bit different. I want it to look like Sue's did. And so I'm not sure how she did it, but I'm going to take this widest part right here and make that the base of my vase. So I'm just going to keep following that little curve and just sharpen it, take it across, and then just curve it up a little bit to join the curve of that side. And that will create the base. And then I need to decide how tall I want it. And I will tell you, when you cut this off, it's probably going to be too short the first time you do it. I did 3 of them and they were all too short. So you don't have to take much off, like just a little more than 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. Okay. But isn't that cool? Can you see the pattern, the design in that? It just really makes it look awesome. I'm going to add some dimensionals to this right away. We'll put 2 on the bottom. And then I snipped some, let's see here, because I want to put some along the side because I want to tuck my stem down in there. If I can get it off of here. I did come back in and added more in here, so maybe I'll just go ahead and stick a little something there, because if I want it to pop up, I want it to pop up. I don't want it to be dragging, looking saggy. And we don't like that word saggy, do we, as we get older? Okay. All right, just going to pop this right here, sort of halfway on, halfway off of the corrugated embossed. And then we can get our flowers ready, and I'm going to pop them on, both on dimensionals. And what I did to decide where I wanted to put my stem, I can't get that picked up. I sort of laid my flowers on here. I'm like, okay, I know that I want 2 different heights, and I don't want them to be really tall. They look so much cuter when they're closer to the vase. So when I stick this in here, it might go down here too far, so I don't need this whole length because most of it's going to be down in the vase. So I'm just going to snip some of that off, and then I can just glue that, stick it down in here, and try to keep it up as much as I can till I get it to about the center of that flower. And I don't really care if it's a little high because my flower will cover that. So choose where you want your flower to, whoops, it's moving on me. It's not sticking down there very well. That's okay, these will hold it in place. And there we go. How cute is that? All right, the only thing we need is the tag and the gems. Just going to give this a little snip and a snip. Like I said, I want this to be fairly short because there's nothing on here that I want covered up. That makes it really hard when you want to add a sentiment and you have too much pretty stuff going on and you can't put a sentiment on. Or at least you can't put a big sentiment on because you don't want to cover anything. All right, so I'm just going to glue this down because I don't need any more dimension on my card. And you can stick it in here. I put this one out over a little bit. We'll just put this one to the edge of the gray and you can decide which you like best. I think it depends how big your tag is. And then we'll use the Pretty in Pink dimensionals. And I used a large one and a small one. We're going to need all of these for class, so I'm going to use a medium and a small this time, maybe. Ta-da! There we go. Isn't that cute? Lots of room in here to write. I know white doesn't show up very well, but I will post, of course, pictures with this. And maybe when I'll have it at the beginning of this video so that you can actually see what it looks like on a dark background without this camera doesn't do as nice with white colors. So you can go back to that and see what it actually looks like in person. All right, that's everything. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget, when you place an order here at the stampincindy.stampinup.net, this month you get an order of $50 or more. We get you all 4 of the projects we did tonight. And if your order bumps to 60, you will get the free tutorial for 12 different projects. I don't want to say cards because they're not always cards. Using this Impressions of Bloom with our Creative Stamping Collective. So that's 12 tutorials, 12 videos, lots of ideas. So